Saturday evening, and it's about 5:30. I thought it was 6:30, but the time changed because of daylight saving time last week. We haven't set that clock yet, so even though it says it's 6:30, it's 5:30. And I'm reading Into Thin Air by John Krakauer, but I'm also hosting the child on my chest. She refuses to be put down. She looks like she's sleeping. She's not sleeping. As soon as I try to put her down, she will start to wail. So I'm reading and hosting the child. It doesn't get any better than this, guys. It doesn't get any better than this. Looking for some snack options. No. I really want that, but maybe I'd be better off getting some grapes and some cheese. And maybe some of that. I don't know what I was thinking. I said I was at page 100 and something. No, I'm not. I'm at page 69. I thought I was further because I've been reading this book for a few days now, but no, I'm still at page 69. Yep. The story, so far, he's talking about a lot of tragedies that have happened on Mount Everest, but he hasn't, well, he's kind of going through the event, the 1996 event, kind of chronologically. So at first he started off by explaining to us about the mountain, about the challenges, about the appeal of the mountain, and some of the history of people attempting to climb Everest. And then he goes into how he met the guides, the people who arranged these trips to Everest, and how he could have gone with one group as opposed to another. Whoa. And then right now we are on the trip itself, but of course they haven't scaled Everest yet. The disaster hasn't yet happened, so he's kind of going through it in a kind of following the timeline of how the event happened. So I guess I'll check in when that happens, when he covers it. I don't know where in the book that will come, whether that happens at the end or whether that happens kind of in the middle and then he gives a little breakdown. So in any case, I'll check in when that happens. Look at that. It looks so beautiful. No one else could ever show me how to see the world the way I see it now. Oh, I never saw blue like that before. My husband brought me breakfast in bed because, well, this little one is lying in my lap and refuses to move. And if I try to move, she does something like that, where she wriggles and settles in like stone. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, but it means that I get to do a little reading. I'm still reading this book, and I'm not even at page 100 yet. It's going slowly. It's going slowly, but it's going. Nonfiction November for the win. Well, we don't know if we're gonna win yet. Isn't this just the cutest humidifier you ever saw? The steam comes out of the top, out of the little ears right there. Oh, it's so cute. I also have to read this book, Lake Season by Denise Hunter. I have a book review that's due on my blog on Thursday, I think. So I need to read it between now and then. So I should probably start it today just because it might take me a while to read, even though this is something that I'm usually able to read quickly. Now that my new circumstances, including tending to the baby, means that I don't read as fast, I should probably start it now. Another day, another adventure, baby. Whee! Turbulence! Fasten your seatbelts. Captain says you should keep your seatbelts attached for the whole ride. Yes! Whee! Turbulence! You're doing it. The dad life. Dinner today is going to be some roasted potatoes and chicken wings. The wings are ready. I'm making some plantains, some gravy, and we got some kale. Mr. Brown just brought me breakfast in bed before he leaves for work, so I could stay in bed and not have to get up to go forage for food. We're reading Good Night to Curious George tonight. This is by Margaret and H.A. Ray. And I just gave the baby a pacifier, and I don't know yet how I feel about her using a pacifier, but I'm gonna try to distract myself from that with the book. Oh yes, she spit it out. I guess she doesn't like it. Yay. I guess we'll try it again, but for now, she's not very interested. Right, baby? You don't want no pacifier? Yay! Try to see if I can get another, maybe half an hour read while I try to put the baby back to sleep. She has to fall into deep enough sleep in order for me to be able to put her down. So we're gonna get a little reading done while we wait for that time. It is Wednesday morning, November 13th, and I'm not going anywhere today. It is 27 degrees outside. I'm going to be indoors, and the baby is sleeping. She's been getting a little bit more sleep, longer sleep. So I'm thinking that today I'm going to get some reading done. I'm still reading Into Thin Air. I am at page 160. But this is not a book that I feel like I can consume large sections of it in any one sitting. So I think it's time for me to move back from just reading one book to reading multiple books. So I'm still reading Into Thin Air, but I'm going to get back to The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. The plan is to finish this one by the end of the month. I'm not sure how that is going because I'm so far behind, but I'm going to try to get back into reading this today. I don't even know where I am. So, reading that one. And I'm going to start Cormac McCarthy's The Road. I've been wanting to read this for a while. It's been on my TBR. It's almost 300 pages. This is a book that has been heavily criticized for a lot of reasons, but it's a Pulitzer Prize winning novel. It's on my shelves. I should read it. I want to start this one. And I have The Swerve on my nonfiction November TBR. I started reading this last year. I didn't get very far into it. The text is almost 300 pages as well. I read something else by Stephen Greenblatt a couple of years ago and loved it. So my reading schedule today, I'm going to see if I can read 200 pages. I don't know if that's ambitious or not, but I'm going to see if I can do 50 pages in each one of these books today. And hopefully I'll be able to have something to tell you about my reading life, other than to tell you that this book is chronology of the disaster on Mount Everest in 1996. That's all that I could tell you about that book. So hopefully I'll have more to say when I'm reading these. I'm here for my first 50-page check-in. I'm reading The Road by Cormac McCarthy. And this is a father and son duo moving from the north to the south of what used to be the United States. They're in this post-apocalyptic or dystopian environment. We're not sure why, but everyone else seemed to have disappeared, just this duo. And they encounter a lot of the mummified remains of these dead people. And where I am, they just met one other survivor, and it was tough to read about, them navigating this harsh landscape. They're trying to push a cart in the beginning of winter, so it's cold and it's wet and it's snowing and they're walking. But what was even harder still was them meeting a fellow survivor and their inability or maybe even unwillingness to offer help to this man, because the father says there's nothing that they can do, there's nothing that they have to offer this person. That's difficult to read about, because even when you see people who are down on their luck, you want to hope that they still have compassion for someone who's even worse off than they are, because as much as this father and son don't seem to have anything, they have each other, and this other person is solo. If he dies alone, unknown, and I don't know. It's just tough to read about, but I'm so intrigued by the story. I don't know why, I don't know what has caused the situation that they're in, so I kind of want to keep reading to find that out. I've heard a lot of things about this book, not so much about the story. So I don't know, I might keep going, but I'm gonna stop and get a snack. I'm also adding this to the pile of books that I'm reading today because I want to put my blog review up tomorrow. So Lake Season by Denise Hunter. This is about 3 siblings who, after their parents die, They are continuing their parents' dream of turning their home into an inn. So it's a Bluebell Inn romance, and I'm gonna try to finish this one today so I can write my review tomorrow. Ready for our daily sing-along? Sing-along and exercise. Once in Royal David City stood a lowly cattle shed, where a mother laid her baby in a manger for his bed. Mary was that mother mild, Jesus Christ, her little child. He did have that crooked nose that seemed so popular on the heroes of romance novels, but he hadn't gotten it in a fist fight. He'd gotten it at the library while unshelving a difficult-to-reach hardcover copy of Moby Dick. I'm just reading this book to the baby because she has a little bit of a hiccup and she just needs to calm down and kind of wait it out. So, reading and waiting. Good morning. It's just about 6:30 on Thursday morning. My husband just went to work, and this little one, well, she's getting ready to go back to sleep after her feeding, and hopefully she'll sleep for another 2 hours or so before she gets up properly for the day. So during that time, I'll probably get a little bit of reading done. So I wanted to give a little reading update before I start reading again for today. Last night I finished Lake Season by Denise Hunter. That's the book that I was reading to review. I'm going to be writing my blog review this morning. And I read some more pages of Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. It's a difficult read in terms of the subject matter. It's a difficult read in terms of, imagining what these people are going through. But it's also such, I think, an important story to tell because, everybody says, oh, I want to climb Everest. The reality of what it is to climb Everest, I don't think most of us would even want to dare. I also read some pages from Cormac McCarthy, The Road, yesterday. I think I read 50 pages. I was planning to go back and read more, but I didn't get back to it. And I read some pages from The Swerve by Stephen Greenblatt. That's one of my nonfiction books from my TBR for Nonfiction November. And got a lot of reading done yesterday because it was so cold we didn't leave the house. Today I don't think I have as much time to read, but okay, I have to go. And then one of the gems that we got from our baby shower was this awesome little book, Every Little Thing, which comes from Bob Marley's song. The lyrics were adapted for, I guess, the poems in this book, and it was adapted by his daughter, Cedella Marley. And look at the illustrations in here. Oh, look at this. Look at... Oh, so we'd had the gift just hanging around, and I don't know why. I thought it was something else. So I just opened it yesterday, and I'm going to read it to her later when she wakes up. Every Little Thing, I think we're going to read and listen to the music because it's time. She's 2 weeks and 2 days old today. It's time for her to start learning about her Jamaican culture, right? Okay, baby, here's the story. Once upon a time in a land far, far away called Jamaica, your mommy grew up in a country where a man named Bob Marley was really popular. And this is one of the songs that a lot of people know that he sang. It's called Three Little Birds. And it's about not worrying, not being afraid, because every little thing is going to be all right. Are you afraid? You don't have to be afraid. Every little thing is going to be all right. It's Friday morning, reading update from yesterday. I read 50 pages into The Swerve by Stephen Greenblatt, which is about Poggio, who was secretary to the Pope in the 1400s. At the time when the Pope got arrested, lost his credibility. And so Poggio was looking for a new career. He started to do book hunting, which meant that he wanted to go into the monastery where books were being kept, the book industry was being kept alive by monks, and he was looking for a manuscript from previous centuries. I'm still reading Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. I read some pages yesterday, but I don't remember how many. And I made some progress on Cormac McCarthy's The Road. I'm at page 165 or thereabouts right now. So another 100 pages to go. I'll probably finish that before I do my Friday Reads video later. I'm also thinking that I'll finish Into Thin Air before I make my Friday Reads video. And otherwise, yesterday I finished Lake Season. I think I might have told you that in my reading update yesterday morning. Exploration, which continued when Naples passed into Bourbon hands, were extremely crude. Less an archaeological investigation than a prolonged smash and grab. The official in charge for more than a decade was a Spanish army engineer, Roque Joaquin de Alcubierre, who seemed to treat the site as an ossified garbage dump in which loot had unaccountably been buried. This man, remarked a contemporary, dismayed at the wanton damage, knew as much of antiquities as the moon does of lobsters. And with that, I have finished 172 books so far in 2019. I haven't read all the books that I wanted to read, but I've read a lot. It's Sunday morning, and I did not film anything yesterday, or not any footage that I could share with you. Of course, I take videos of the baby almost every day. But Saturday just kind of went by. We were home. We had a really cozy day in. On Saturday, usually we go to church, but since the baby has been born, we haven't gone back to church yet. So we watched the live stream of our church service on the internet. And for the most part, we just hung around, had food, talked, just cuddled up with each other, my husband and I and the baby. And it was wonderful. We really needed this day in, just the three of us, but mostly the two of us, I suppose, because, baby slept through most of it. But it was wonderful. And of course, I have no video of any of that, but you just have to take my word for it that I am rested. I got some reading done. I finished Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. That's the only thing I've finished since my Friday Reads check-in. And it was such a great read. I mean, it's a really sad book. It's one of the saddest books I've ever read because it's not a mystery. Going in, the author tells you that a lot of the people that went with him up to Mount Everest summit, that they didn't return, they died on the mountain. And he identifies who they are, and he goes through the chronology showing you how they move from talking about the trip to going to base camp, to camp 1, camp 2, camp 3, camp 4, up the summit. And then he acknowledges that going up the mountain is one thing, coming back is another, because going up, you go through the process of adjusting to this altitude, and then your body has to readjust as you're coming down. And that's where a lot of the people who died, that's where a lot of them lost their lives. And so he acknowledges how the world has changed as it relates to climbing Mount Everest. So he talks about the history of Everest being conquered by these mountaineers. And also, he talks about how the world has not changed, because even after this tragedy happened, even after so many people died in May 1996, right after that, people who knew about this tragedy, people who knew some of the people who had lost their lives, went there to climb and also lost their lives. So it's as though this event didn't do anything to deter people who wanted to climb Everest. And it was such a fascinating story to read. Very sad because it's true, but how the author brought us into his intimacy by sharing with us his experience, making his speculations in the magazine, and talking about the backlash that he received from writing about things that he didn't know definitively, and just kind of bringing us into his space of experiencing this trauma. And such a great read, complete 5-star. So that's the only book that I've finished since my Friday Reads, but I've made some progress on Count of Monte Cristo yesterday, and I made some progress on The Swerve by Stephen Greenblatt yesterday. So I'll talk about those in my next vlog. You'll see those appear as I continue reading them. So we're going to end this vlog here because it's Sunday and we need to start a new vlog for the new week. So thanks for watching this one. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and let's talk in the comments. I'd love to know what from this vlog resonated with you, if you've read any of the books that I talked about this week, and just let's chat. So let's talk down there, and until next time, happy reading. Bye.